share this. Tonight we are going to hear from Brittany Peo. Brittany is a licensed massage therapist and an educator at a SUNY school, and she teaches on massage therapy. And so I'm really excited for her to share some wisdom with us this evening and talk more to pain and inflammation and how that can impact the body. And then we'll talk about some ways that we can implement some of these new routines into our daily life with the most cost-effective way. So I will turn the time over to Brittany. Brittany, thank you so much. And then stay on after Brittany goes over everything, and we're going to do a panel. So go ahead, Britt.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm pumped about this. I love talking on all things wellness, but especially when it comes to the body, inflammation and pain, I do feel like that is my forte because of massage. So I've been in massage therapy since 2011. And I've had my own private practice over the years. And then since 2016, I've been a massage therapy instructor at SUNY Morrisville in Central New York. So it's an awesome program that's afforded me a ton of opportunities. And I've also learned a lot of ways that I can incorporate doTERRA in with not only in my own personal life, but in with my clients and everything else that pertains to massage therapy and teaching that too. So it's been really fun over the last couple of years to learn more and more about how I can safely, easily, and effectively apply the oils to myself and my clients. So I'm going to share my screen with everybody so we can get right to it. I do have it up here, but it's not. I have too many PowerPoints up from teaching earlier online. Sorry. Okay. So anyways, when I first started using oils, I really just got them for myself. And very quickly, I was adding them into my practice. Okay, I can see this. Sorry, technical difficulties. It wouldn't be right with me without one. There we go. Cool. Can everybody see that?
Yes, you're good.
Cool. Cool, cool. So I figured we would focus on some of the main topics that I hear about and that I see in my practice and with massage therapy, and just how we can tie that all in with the oils that you probably already have. And if you're familiar at all with oils, you know we're going to talk a lot about Deep Blue tonight and how the benefits show up when it comes to pain, our body's inflammation, stress that we're under, our spinal health, and overall tiredness and fatigue. So I just wanted to speak on all of those just really quickly, in the sense of when we experience those problems in our life, what we think of as these negative effects on our body, whether it's wear and tear, maybe you feel like you were just born with it, maybe you had some sort of accident. And overall, I just want to offer and lend a lot of hope to everybody. I think that we succumb to these symptoms sometimes because they are so strong and they scream at us, but ultimately our body is telling us that there is something going on and something that we should really explore deeper and figure out what's going on. So right away, I just want everybody to start to shift the script that they tell themselves. And so much of the pain that we experience is so in our face and we let it control us. So let's use our oils. Let's use some of the skills we talk about tonight to just take those signs and symptoms as a way of communicating with our body and giving it what it needs in order to have that sense of homeostasis and overall balance. So as we're into it, let's everybody take a moment to take a deep breath and just drop our shoulders down, maybe unclench our jaw, and just get comfortable and relaxed, because I think all day long we're feeling it. So just take a moment to start to rate yourself. And we have all of our levels of our pyramid of wellness, from eating right to the exercise and the rest and managing our stress, reducing toxic load, knowing about self-care and how to implement it into our lives, and then any proactive medical care that you need, and just going through and rating yourself in those areas, 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the most, and how well you're doing in those areas. So just start to think of ways right now that you can either improve upon or focus more on those certain levels of the pyramid. So as always, I do believe in that healthy foundation. And so often we're just going back to that one time that we hurt ourselves or we didn't do our stretch before, or whatever the case was, and we're not thinking that maybe it is a foundational issue why we're experiencing this pain and inflammation. So Liz did a great job speaking on the vitamins a couple of weeks ago on our Wellness Wednesday chat. And I think if you missed that, it's a great opportunity to go back and see the positive effects that we have from really just starting with that super healthy foundation and giving our body everything that it needs, so we're no longer in that survival mode and we can really thrive. And it's just this critical component to thinking that our inflammation doesn't just necessarily come from using and abusing our bodies. Like, they are kind of intended to do that, to be used and abused. So let's give that healthy start with the lifelong vitality. I know for me and all of my customers who do use those, they almost immediately experience a reduction of pain. You're able to sleep better and all the things. So let's get into talking about Deep Blue. If you use oils from doTERRA, you have probably used Deep Blue. I can guarantee it. It is what I always tell everybody. It's going to be that holy grail oil that you turn to anytime you're feeling pain. And it's like a gateway oil to get all of your friends, family, husbands into oils. If maybe they're kind of apprehensive about it, usually Deep Blue is going to be the one that people turn to first, because it does have that immediate sense of pain relief as you're using it. It's cooling from the wintergreen and the peppermint. It also has helichrysum, ylang ylang, blue tansy, blue chamomile. It is just loaded with really great oils. To me, it doesn't smell like that conventional smell of those topical creams that we put on our body that you get at the drugstore. This has just a really nice, soothing, clean smell to it. And it is really effective when it comes to helping with pain and inflammation. It is just a staple that I use in my massage practice. And it's funny because even one of the other massage instructors, and I just have the family of all the Deep Blue products, one of the other massage instructors at the college she uses doTERRA, but she's not into it like we are. She brought in the Deep Blue rub to teach our students deep tissue massage, and I just thought that was so awesome. Like, I did not even tell her to do it. Like, she had been doing it before that. And so it just goes to show and attest to the effectiveness of using this in the massage practice. So to have something like this right in your cabinet at home help you with just those aches and pains that we have going on is really a fortunate thing that we have. So I love using the Deep Blue rub when I'm experiencing some sort of like general soreness. Like I said, it's great to bring into my massage sessions, but it's not like sticky or oily or greasy. If you haven't used it, it just absorbs so nicely. And I've worked with a lot of products over the years that are intended for this sort of pain relief and muscular relaxation, and just none of them compare to the quality, to the smell, to the effectiveness of Deep Blue rub. So it's just really neat to be able to have that comparison as well. I've tried out a lot of products and I've gone to a bunch of different conventions for massage, and nothing else I have on my shelf. The actual oil itself, I do use that when I have more of this targeted area that I want to focus on. Like say I have this like one knot that I'm super aware of in my muscle or something. That's where I'm going to go and use the oil. Whereas the rub, I do like it for just that more general. And of course, it just spreads out over a larger area because it is conveniently already ready to go in the lotion form. But some of the other things that I've come across when it comes to, so the other things that I've come across in the last couple of years that I've gotten involved with doTERRA is the other products. Like I at first was hooked on Deep Blue and I thought this is the only one, which yes, it is amazing. But then I tried DDR Prime for the first time. I was like, holy cow, this is great. And then you read what's in it, and it has frankincense and lemongrass and all the good things to help with inflammation in our body. My brother who drives trucks, who does not really ever use oils, this is one that he's hooked on. So again, for that level of convenience and for helping the people in our lives who aren't necessarily going to levitate towards oils, it's really nice to give them the option of the cream or the capsules or the supplements. So I love DDR Prime. That's just been a really great one for me to use and to implement with my family. The turmeric has benefits that we've known about for thousands of years. We saw that being practiced in Ayurvedic and ancient times, that they would use turmeric for healing purposes then. So it's just really amazing that we have this high quality dual capsule chamber that has technology, so that way the turmeric is absorbed in the way that it is naturally intended to be. Copaiba is awesome. I think that I've gotten more people hooked on Copaiba since last year than any of the other oils. I just know that a lot of my clients like to take it before they go to bed. It just helps them with a good night's sleep. And while we're sleeping, that's when we have the most healing going on in our body. So if we can give it more of a fighting chance with using the Copaiba, it's just a really great way for us to, again, just help decrease that inflammation. Copaiba acts as an endocannabinoid receptor. So some of the other oils that are awesome to use for reducing your inflammation are the Copaiba and the lemongrass. But more on Copaiba, if you haven't heard about Copaiba, it definitely has similarities in that way that Deep Blue does, that it helps with inflammation. But what I love about this is it does turn on those endocannabinoid receptors to help us with all sorts of irritants to the body, from stress to anxiety, and just being to have that overall calmness. So I really enjoy using that in the capsule form. The oil is great too. You can rub that right on the area that's affected, but I just find that the capsule and the oil together work really well. I also wanted to just mention Rescuer, because that's a really great one for kids and teenagers who are going through growing pains. Even our littlest of kids can be going through growing pains. So that's a gentler blend. I also like to use it when I'm experiencing like any sort of headaches and tension. I just think it's really calm and gentle to rub on my neck and shoulders. Or like temples. It doesn't have a super strong peppermint sensation, which will sometimes be like a lot if you're putting it right next to your temples, if that's not something you're into. And another one that I incorporate into many of my massage sessions is Aroma Touch. Aroma Touch has some oils in it that will help stimulate circulation and help really overall reduce that inflammation in the body. And inflammation is not a bad thing in the sense of the purpose of inflammation. Inflammation is intended to happen so our body heals and it rushes blood that's highly oxygenated to the area. And that's why we see this like sometimes we even see redness on the skin when we do have inflammation. And when we increase circulation during inflammation, it's ultimately going to help that process speed up. And when that process is occurring, it's intended to help heal our body. That's why when something hurts on your body or you hurt yourself, you end up with inflammation. And that's our body's natural way of healing and moving on from that injury. And so if we use oils that incur a boost of circulation, like there's basil that's in Aromatouch and peppermint, and it's really going to just help bring oxygenated blood to that area and help that inflammation process go through quicker than it would just on its own, hopefully. And I love the smell of Aromatouch too. To me, it's not too masculine, not too feminine. It's just really nice. And I could use that on any client who walked through my doors and they love the smell of that. Lemongrass is wonderful for like plantar fasciitis. If you have been told by your doctor that you have to do those stretches for the plantar fasciitis where you roll on a water bottle, I highly recommend giving yourself a little foot massage afterwards with lemongrass, or even before you do that, or both. And speaking of doing some massage on ourselves, I think it's really important to know the reflexology maps and charts, because it's a first line of defense that we can use when we're feeling pain or irritated in any area in our body. Not to mention that when you do give yourself a little foot massage or a little hand massage, especially before bed, it can help you get that good night's rest. Who doesn't feel good after they get a little foot massage and want to just go to sleep? So hopefully you sleep better, which will then in turn help your body heal and recover. And you can also use this targeted map of a reflexology chart on hands and feet. They're both effective. To me, I don't know, I just like to massage my own feet a little bit more, and I find that it's kind of easier to navigate around. You can use any of those oils that I mentioned. Deep Blue would be a great one, the copaiba, the lemongrass, any of them on the bottom of your feet. I mean, if you gave yourself a general foot massage, then you're generally gonna touch on everything and it's gonna feel probably pretty good. But if you want to get more specific, you can look at those maps and guide yourself along to figure out the best place to place your oil and be really specific and targeted on that area. And so the idea is that as all of our nerve endings end up on our hands and feet, our acupuncture meridians, they all end around here. There's just these energetic zones that occur on our hands and feet that match and reflex on our body. So if you think of, it pretty much goes in line with how our body looks. So we've got our sinuses, our head, our neck, up in our toes, and our big toe specifically is going to be one that you want to focus on for like headaches, neck and shoulder tension. And then as you go down, you have like the middle of your body, and then we have our organs, and then the lowest part of the foot or the heel is going to be like your legs, your lower body. So it's not that hard to figure out. I'm not testing you on it like I would my students. You can pretty much be pretty general. And the same thing, if you want to get more specific though, it's going to really help target in on those areas. And I love, I can just attest to this, because when I learn about clients and people and what their ailments are, and then I'm massaging their feet, it is crazy how often you can feel like these little knots of tension in the areas where they complained about on their feet that match up with their body. So I'm just, on myself and others, it's just been really interesting to see that line up. So another great thing that you can do for yourself and some self massage is foam rolling. Start diffusing your oils, get yourself in the mood to exercise in that sense. Like, I think you need some motivation to do it. A little peppermint and wild orange would be good to diffuse. Maybe cover yourself in some of your Deep Blue rub, and then hop on a foam roller, pull up a YouTube video, 5 to 15 minutes. You can do it for up to 30 minutes while you're foam rolling. And this is going to really help stretch and release your fascia, that layer on top of your muscles. What's great about that is that's where a lot of the blood vessels and nerve endings lie as well. So that will really help release any pain and tension that you have in your body. And with foam rolling, you just want to remember to start gradual. It is like an exercise, so you wouldn't go and run a marathon. You want to start gradual with foam rolling. Use your deep blue to help loosen up your muscles. You'll rub that on first and then hop on your foam roller and just work lighter and get deeper as you go. The more often that you do it, the deeper that you can go, but like deeper isn't always the goal. You want to be able to breathe through that, and if it is hurting you, you're going to want to use less pressure. Oops. So our wellness relief kit options are pretty cool. I didn't mean to stick these feet in the middle there, but I wondered where that went to. So that's fine. So you'll choose what program that you want. Just like we've been talking every Wednesday, the wellness relief kits are really a great way for you to expand your collection and to get really specific on what you need to enhance your life. So you'll choose the wellness relief kit option. In the first month, you'll get that neoprene bag that comes with all of the deep blue goodies. You get the deep blue rub in the little packets, so you can share them or throw them in your gym bag or take them with you to work, take them with you on the go. You'll also get the deep blue capsules. These are awesome because you're going to get the internal benefits of using deep blue, but you get on an internal level. The aroma touch, which is awesome for the circulatory system, helps boost that. And of course, a little bottle of the deep blue. This also comes with a roller ball. So you can use this massage roller ball just as you would a foam roller. This is really great because of the size of it to get like underneath your shoulder blade, your glutes, like right on the side. A lot of times people have issues with like sciatica. That would be a great tool to use for that. Also, everybody is on the computer a lot right now, so you could use that ball to massage your hands. We do a lot of like that extension already, so I wouldn't really focus on extending too much, but you could still just like use it to massage your hands or use it as like a stress ball and rubbing it on the bottom of your feet too, especially if you have any sort of foot pain, plantar fasciitis, where massage helps that feel better. So that's your first month. The second month, you would receive a large bottle of the deep blue rub with a cute little bottle to continue to refill of your deep blue rub. And I think this is just an awesome idea because the bottle that it comes with is pretty big, but you can, now you can just travel with it on the go. This is something you can keep opening again and again and just keep refilling with the deep blue as that runs out. So you have a way to have extra deep blue no matter where you go. This also comes with the Copaiba capsules. So again, like I mentioned, with just helping you to get to sleep, helping with overall pain relief. But this one is generally just a great stress reducer when it comes to stress of the mind and the body. And then you'll also get a bottle of wintergreen here. Wintergreen is in deep blue, so this is a great way for you to enhance the benefits of deep blue. You can also use wintergreen for your pain relief. I also love to use this one on my dryer balls. I remember when they gave them with the dryer balls last year, and I've been hooked on it ever since. And I'm not sure if you can usually get wintergreen on its own, so okay, you can. All right. And then the third month, you're going to get the turmeric capsules and past tense in a bottle, which I love past tense for when I'm experiencing a headache, but I've also found that past tense is just great for any overall like aches and pains. You're going to get another bottle of deep blue at this point and fractionated coconut oil along with your own roller bottles to make. So at this point, you can combine what you have received with your oils and make your own unique roller bottles for what works for you. You can also travel with your oils better that way, plus the longevity of your oils that you get from using a roller bottle versus just taking drops out. When you get any or all of those, you can always add on 3 of your choice at 20% off to your order. So this is just a great time to stock up. If pain is something that you experience often and you know that that's something that you're going to want to include, and you already have a sense that these are going to be oils that work for you, then I would definitely do that. Again, I think for a lot of people in our families, convenience is key. So this is a good time for them because the capsules can be easier for people who aren't necessarily oil junkies like the rest of us. Like they just want that convenience. I think that's just a good way to go when you're on the go too, plus the effectiveness of them. So I just love everything that are in these wellness kits. I think this is just a great way for us to get empowered and take control over our own health. So often we leave it up to everybody else to tell us like how to feel better. And that's what I love about essential oils is they really do give us that ability to, you know, maybe we're not going to move mountains in one day, but we're going to feel a little bit better that day. So then we go and take the walk or we go and hop on the yoga mat. And that's what's going to make those little differences to just keep finding that different pattern, that different lifestyle that you want to live and achieve. Because when you're not feeling good physically, it's hard for you to feel good mentally or want to show up in areas of your life where you can actually thrive when you're just trying to get by because of the pain that you're experiencing. So I really just think that by using essential oils, it is going to just help propel you in the right direction. So that way you're feeling better. They're simple, they're easy, they're affordable ways that you can just get it in all throughout your day. So I love Deep Blue. I love educating people on how they can just easily get these things in to empower themselves to live a healthier and happier life. So I hope that that was informative, that you guys learn some things on how to reduce your inflammation and how to just easily plug in oils to make that more effective.
Awesome. Thank you, Britt. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
There is a question in the comments. What, and this can be like a group discussion, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but what would be your preferred target way to go after the sciatic or a herniated disc?
Okay, so it definitely varies person to person. I do find with people who come to me with sciatica stuff, because sciatica is more of like a syndrome, so it doesn't affect everybody the same way. But what I typically see is that when people use massage, stretching, oils, and gentle yoga, they can alleviate a lot of that sciatica pain. But one of the things that I don't think people connect enough is the stress component. And when we have stress in our life, we're going to hold that tension in our muscles and our tissues, and our tissues also considered like our discs, you know, so when people have disc issues that can create the sciatica issue, it's really interesting to see the correlation between stress in somebody's life and sciatica. And I even can think of like clients off the top of my head who experience sciatica on and off throughout their life. And when we start talking, they're always in a stressful moment when they're having those symptoms come up. So I definitely think there are some really great targeted stretches you can do. If you've ever heard of like making that figure 4 with your leg, where you're laying down on your back, you would bend your knees and put one leg over the knee that's crossed. So you make a figure 4, loop your hands in between and pull and stretch. That can stretch the sciatica really nice. You always want to make sure you can breathe comfortably through the stretches. Don't do anything that's going to make it worse. But I do think there is a big component between stress in our lives and the sciatica issues. Traditional Chinese medicine says that we hold a lot of our stored emotions in our hips. So that's just kind of interesting to think how close our hips are to the sciatic area too.
Awesome. Thank you, Britt. I actually did a live earlier today talking about the emotional component with pain, just because I wasn't sure if we were going to go into that tonight. But that's one thing, like with doing emotion code or just in general with emotions, being able to tap into, okay, there's a physical health concern happening here, but what's the emotional component that could possibly be the root source of that? So I love that. And then as you were speaking, I just pulled up for sciatica, the oils and modern essentials that is recommended are peppermint, Roman chamomile, and helichrysum as the primary recommendation. And then Dorothea just shared that she uses lemongrass and then layers copaiba, deep blue, and frankincense. And she says that that was significantly supportive. My phone is making my face glow. Significantly supportive for her sciatica nerve pain. So that's something else as well, too. So just different ideas. Love it. Let me see if there was any other. I don't think so. So if we just want to share, I know from my own testimony with a couple of people very close to me, just the lifelong vitality alone has been a huge lifesaver for them with the pain that they were experiencing. So just a testament to that. I don't know, Liz, do you have anything specific that you're thinking, or Sandy, if you're able to share, like, or Dorothea, any specific testimonies when it comes to pain and inflammation?
I'll share a couple things. I just kind of like really resonated with me when you were talking, Britt. So I've had in the last, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years, probably like within the scope of time where I've gotten involved with doTERRA, which I'm super thankful for that it's been there to help. I've experienced some of the strongest pain that I've ever had in my entire life. One from some dietary issues, and then the other is I get very, very bad cramps with my period. And as a naturalista, like you ladies, I like refuse medicine. But I've found that, so specifically for the gastrointestinal pain that I was suffering from for a while, I found that the copaiba soft gels really helped to take the edge off, paired with, and this is more dietary, but like paired with the peppermint and enteric coated soft gels, it helped with pain in my lower GI. And then with period cramps, I found that copaiba is very, very helpful, taken internally, and not only for the cramps, but I also will experience really intense lower back ache. It's not pain, it's more like an ache. And that kind of resonates down my legs. So I will also take that copaiba and apply it to those points as well. And that's super, super helpful. And it keeps me from having to use traditional, like over-the-counter medications. But pain's no joke. It's hard to listen and really hear other people when you're experiencing pain and the narrative that goes along with it. And Tom, my partner here, he knows right away when I'm in pain, because he'll like start telling me about his day, and I'm just like, I'm someplace else. And I'm just like, I'm in pain. So the oils have been awesome, super helpful. Wintergreen is a rock star for me when Deep Blue doesn't help. Sometimes Deep Blue has like I hit a wall with it, because I'll get like body fatigue, and if it's been a long day of like, I don't know, traveling, or we're on our feet all day and we're maybe vacationing and we're like on the go constantly, I will get pain in my right shoulder, and wintergreen takes it away really, really, really well. And then I did just want to mention that turmeric, the duo caps are really cool, because if you're somebody who's already using turmeric, because you know of all the incredible benefits, the anti-inflammatory, it's a blood tonic, it totally detoxes you. You probably want to look into the duo caps, because what happens with the regular turmeric herbal supplement, it's not incredibly bioavailable. So you've probably heard like you've got to mix it with black pepper so that it works. But the duo caps are really cool because they bring together the herbal supplement and the essential oil. So it's two different components. It's curcuminoids and turmerones, and together they amplify each other. It's like bringing the whole plant together. And the anti-inflammatory benefits are incredible, plus all the side benefits of like, you're detoxing your body at the same time. So but the oils have been super helpful for me with pain. It is kind of funny though, to like see how like copaiba works really, really well for me, but turmeric works really well for somebody else. It's almost like you can compare it to like over-the-counter medication, where it's like somebody swears by Aleve and somebody else says Aleve doesn't work. I only use ibuprofen. So some trial and error is kind of needed sometimes with pain. I find that with pain a lot. Do you, Brittany? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, sometimes it's just like, that didn't work, man. I don't know what you're talking about, but you just try one more thing and you kind of nail it. So I always think like, if you can just be as patient with natural medicine as you have been with your doctors and the medical system, then you'll find the fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and I think, oh, go ahead.
No, just awesome. I'm just in love with oil. You go.
Yeah.
Your turn. No, you go.
Well, and I think too, we so often just associate pain with, well, then once I'm in pain, I have these irritable feelings and I'm not myself and I'm uncomfortable. And sometimes we don't even realize that we were uncomfortable before the pain was there, or we don't remember what life was like before the pain, or we had this traumatic event that triggered the pain in our body. And over the summer, I read this book by Dr. Sarnos called Healing Back Pain Naturally. And I think that every person should read that book. I think we should have to read that book in like high school. And it really just validates the connection between the nervous system, the brain, the spinal cord. So because our brain is where we sense and feel and have thoughts and feelings, and then it's connected to our spinal cord, and just making that connection between how we can store emotions in our body. And I know we talk on that a lot in here, but I think for some people, it really is just hard to accept that that's a possibility. And at the end of the day, it does boil down to that. And so when we use oils, we know that it does make us feel better because it just smells good, right? But on our brain, our limbic system, which is responsible for emotions and memories, that's right next to our olfactory senses, which is what controls our sense of smell. So they're right next door to each other in the brain. And I just find that so interesting that we can start that emotional recovery, which then who knows can lead to how much pain that we've been suppressing. And Liz, I think you brought up a good point with saying how you've experienced more pain since you started using oils, like those, that how that's changed in your life. I'm not saying using the oils has made that, but it's just like sometimes when we become like more open to stuff, which maybe using the oils led you to be more natural and more open, now you're working through these things that maybe would have shown up later in your life. Mm-hmm. And now you can get rid of them now, type of thing.
Yeah, it's true. It's almost like a detox.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to mention is this book, You Can Heal Your Body by Louise Hay. She's like the original personal development guru. She's awesome. She passed away a couple years ago, but she's still awesome. But so this book, it lists ailments and body parts alphabetically, and then it gives you a positive affirmation to target the emotion that is held in that area. So I'll pick a random one. Let's see what it says. Like hernia. So this is a hernia can be the result of ruptured relationships, strain, burdens, incorrect creative expression. And then it gives you the positive affirmation of my mind is gentle and harmonious. I love and approve of myself. I am free to be me. So I often will use this with people, with clients when they have something going on, and I'll look it up and I'll just ask them if this resonates with them. And then if it does, sometimes it's like instant tears because this book is dead on. It's crazy. And then what I like to do is I'll take, I have a Sharpie paint marker and I will write the affirmation on my mirror. So I have one in my bedroom and I have the one that I write on in my bathroom, and I have different ones on each. And then when it's no longer serving me anymore and I've worked through that, then I can wash it off and use something different. But I found this helps. And then the back of it lists all the vertebrae, and there's very specific emotions targeted to each spot on your body. And it's really cool. It's old school. Like, this is probably 35 years old, but I cherish it. It's one of my favorite tools.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wanted to share, going back a little bit in conversation, we were talking about wintergreen, and just in general, I know for me, the combination of wintergreen and coriander, from an emotional perspective, they're great oils to help, so wintergreen is an oil that helps you to release control. And then coriander, I feel like creates that same sense. So for me, if I'm experiencing, if we talk about back pain, it's usually that I'm really trying to white knuckle something in my life, and that makes me super tense. And then I create this pain up my spine. So one thing that I mentioned last week, I'm very diligent about being consistent and going to a chiropractor. I 100% believe in that. And then also using wintergreen and coriander, I feel like for me is a great ticket to support that. The other thing that as you were talking about the different emotions with things, I just go back to in the emotion code testing, you can identify specifically what is coming up. And oftentimes in those sessions, when a person is experiencing pain and they're pretty, set on, well, no, it's something that happened physically, then you go into the emotion code and something comes up from at 15, this is the emotion that's surfacing. And then it's amazing how people will then identify and associate, oh, I actually can understand the emotional connection, because even if we have a shoulder injury that happened from getting hit in football, let's say, there's still stored energy there that would create that shoulder to be susceptible to the injury. So it all is this scaffolded way of thinking about health that I just think is amazing. There's another comment here about migraine pain. So with migraine pain, Dorothea is mentioning she uses past tense and rubs that on the back of her neck and also in her hairline, and then takes Copaiba soft gels, uses peppermint on the roof of her mouth, which I know for a lot of people, frankincense on the roof of the mouth is also extremely supportive for that as well. And then for PMS associated things, just another share, clary sage, Roman chamomile, ylang-ylang, geranium, fennel, palmarosa, copaiba, and clary calm have many women swear by it, and they say that it works better than anything else that they've ever tried. Cool. Any other, I'm just looking to see if there's any questions or anything else that would be valuable to share.
I just really think the biggest thing is empowerment and not feeling that you have to stay in that place of pain forever. Mindset is the biggest thing that we need to shift. And I know from the empathy that I experienced from working with people with lifelong chronic pain, and it's not easy by any means, but it is so possible with these tools, with these daily routines to get to the place that you want to go. And it's really about having the patience to get there and the diligence and wanting that for yourself and knowing you deserve to live a comfortable life.
I love that. There's something that I say during coaching sessions. Pain is like the moment of trauma, or the moment of the onset of pain is unavoidable, but the suffering is optional. And I think that carries over to this. There are things that can be done to alleviate it, both from an emotional perspective and also a physical perspective. There's things that can be added in. It's not that it'll necessarily be 100 to 0 overnight, but there are certainly, I think we all can attest to the testimonies that we have seen over the collective, 10 years, if we combine it all, just in the three of us, of using these, where we have seen people have amazing success stories with this. So I think it's awesome. And what I love is now the guesswork is taken out when it comes to these wellness kits, because you can literally just put in the pain kit into your cart and it automatically will send you what you need to get into a routine, both from an oil and supplement perspective. Like, you can create it to be that. I think it's brilliant to just add in the Lifelong Vitality, have that automatically send each month in a monthly wellness box, and then add in this pain and inflammation kit so that they're piggybacking, and it's just creating month 1, you're getting the vitamins and the first kit. Month 2, you get the second version, still getting the vitamins. I just think that it's brilliant. And I love that they came up with this as an option for us. And I think, in kind of like segueing and tying together, next week we're going to be talking about mood, but what we're alluding to tonight is what you're experiencing emotionally is also showing up physically. So the mood kit is also something that can support the pain kit, which can also support the the emotion kit. I think I just said immune, but the emotion kit can support the pain kit, which can support the immune kit. Like, they all are just a great asset to one another. So I think that it's brilliant that they have it. I love it. And I think this was a great share of information. Does anyone else have anything that you want to share that's coming to you?
I learned something new today.
Let's hear it.
Or maybe it was yesterday. So this is from like a dietary standpoint. When you eat beans or peas or like pulses, lentils, those are the type of carbohydrates that don't digest in your stomach or your small intestine. They kind of can pass through almost whole. I'm sure you've experienced that. I know that's gross, but I'm getting to a point though. When you have the proper probiotics in your lower GI, they actually consume that fiber for you because you physically can't, and it produces something called butyric acid, which is an awesome anti-inflammatory. And it can help with autoimmune disease and systemic inflammation. So a couple things, like the takeaways from that: eat beans and take your probiotics.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yep, butyric acid, check it out.
Ever since I started using the probiotics and the vitamins, beans don't bother me anymore. And I'm a bean girl. So I never thought of it though.
Yeah, that's because we really on our own can't digest it. It's our probiotics, our good healthy microflora that do it for us. So you really need those guys.
You know what that just happened to make me think of, and I'll have you, not to put you on the spot, Liz, but just kind of share, because one thing in this conversation that we didn't allude to is your diet, or our diet, impacts the pain and inflammation. Like, I know for me, alcohol and sugar the next day, like my joints feel rough. So what if you could just, because we're running out of time, but if you could just give like a quick snapshot when it comes to nutrition, what would you say would be great things to consider if a person was trying to reduce pain and inflammation in their body?
So what you said, alcohol and sugar for sure. I would add to that red meat. And there's a couple things that I really recommend that everybody should do. So an elimination diet is probably one of the most important things you can do to really like get a baseline for what your body really feels like when you're not fueling it with things that can cause inflammation and toxicity. So that really means like taking things out of your diet that are processed, sugar, alcohol, red meat, and anything that could be a potential allergen or something that you might be sensitive to. So I might miss some, but gluten, dairy, nuts, seeds, maybe not seeds, but nuts definitely. There can be cross-contamination in seeds with nuts, so that might be a red flag, but soy, corn, shellfish. And this isn't a lifestyle diet. This is something you do for 21 days. And it's really just to check and see what are your triggers. And then you reintroduce one food group at a time afterwards. And then you can feel the inflammation coming back and you know that, hey, it might be dairy. Hey, it might be, I don't know. Everybody's body is different. That's why like individuality is so important. Some people don't do well with meat. Well, it might not cause rashes from head to toe. You might be lethargic and you might have achy joints from it. And you might just think, I have achy joints. That's just who I am. My mom had achy joints. I have achy joints. And I think the most important thing that I've learned over the last couple of years is your genetics are not a life sentence. You have it all within your control to either turn those genes on or turn them off with the foods that you're eating. So I really highly recommend doing an elimination diet, cutting out the potential allergens, but also eating clean and cutting any processed foods and eating organic. You'll feel different in a week. And if you're doing it to trigger allergies and sensitivities, you want to do it for 21 days, maybe even 28 days, just to be sure in case you slipped up a little bit. But
I know some people, eggs is one. I don't think you mentioned
I didn't
that. And pork for some people.
Yeah, so when I do an elimination diet, I stick to fish and chicken, basically, for proteins, if you're going to do proteins. And I tend not to do a ton of fish because there's toxic levels of heavy metals in fish too. So it's not something you want to eat every night, unfortunately, just because of the state of our world. But I know it's yummy and it's good, healthy fats, but that's really where supplementation comes into play too. Like we do need all that good stuff from the fatty fish, but you just have to be careful of the source. And if you're not eating it regularly, that's when you want to use your lifelong vitality and supplement.
Mm-hmm.
And frankincense and clover and the omegas, which are awesome, right? Antioxidants. Clover is the strongest antioxidant that exists. Look up the ORAC scale. It's super high in a dried herb form. And then like we know that oils are incredibly way more potent than dried herbs. What is it, like 70 times more strong?
Mm-hmm.
Every time I think the statistic, I'm like, that's crazy. But it's so strong. So
yeah. I know it's really hard for me to remember to take frankincense every day, but when I am taking my supplements, I know I've checked off that box. And the same with the clove. Like I would not do that, but it's in the supplements. So easy.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Katrina, just like elimination diet and then see what works for you, because it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah, and I've done too, like there's hair tests that you can do. So that could be some just another resource that's available. But in regards to the elimination diet, like I periodically do that, like because it's changed for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And like hair tests, and you can do, I don't know, there's probably saliva tests. There's poop tests. There's all sorts of tests out there. But for me, I think that I'm like the type of person who's like, just do it all. Because it's going to give you a clearer understanding. Like the elimination diet's going to tell you one thing, and it's probably going to validate the things that you learn on those other tests. And the more you can learn about your body, the better. I'm not saying do everything tomorrow, but over time, like, get to know your body. You know your body better than your doctor does. And that's not to say there's not a time and place for medicine, but
Well, it's just valuable. And then for me, some of the things that came up in the hair test, I wouldn't have even thought to add in to, like, I was talking to somebody the other day and she said cinnamon is a big trigger for her. Well, that wouldn't have even crossed my mind, or like, I'm trying to think of what came up in my hair test that caught me off guard. But anyway, it doesn't matter. There was just like these random foods that I was like, really? I wouldn't have even thought of that. So anyways, all that to say, there's a lot of really valuable resources that are available both internally and externally to identify foods that could be potential triggers. So I just wanted to make sure that we talked about that as well. But I think we touched upon a lot of the different areas where pain and inflammation can stem from. I thought this was great. So thank you for sharing, and thanks for the discussion. It doesn't look like we have any other comments in the feed. So where did you get the test from? There was a Groupon. This sounds super shady, but there was a Groupon and it was discounted. So that's where I got mine. And I don't remember the website, but I'll look it up, Dorothea, and I can send it to you.
Just to like validate that though, that's how I got mine too. It was a Groupon. So
yeah, actually, you might have referred me to mine.
I think I may have. I referred it to everybody I knew at the time because it blew my mind. I thought it was so incredible, and I gave everyone the group.
I feel like it's called like allergytest.com or something.
It is. It's super generic.
Yeah.
It's like the easiest name that you can think of.
And then there were like 3 different options you could pick.
Yeah, there were like price tiers that had different groupings of allergens. And
yeah.
70% off.
And we got a Groupon deal. Doesn't sound shady at all.
Nope.
I love me a good deal, even if it comes to testing my hair.
The doctor probably will not read it, just so you know. But
you're currently making your clone in a lab.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cool. Thank you, ladies.